What's going on, YouTube? My name is GinJ-TCG, or Chris, and today we're back for another meta forecast on the Battle VIPs podcast, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Avery. What's good, Avery?
Yo, what's good, guys? I already know with this, I'm gonna make a lot of people upset, might make a lot of people unhappy, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give y'all the realest, most entertaining takes. Along with my boy Chris, he's gonna give you the analytical. I'm gonna give you the vibe list. I'm gonna give you the vibes. He's got the facts.
I think what's gonna be fun about this one is this tier list in specific, actually, and maybe the next podcast are gonna be the most useless tier list, if you will, because there's not actually another regional or major championship until January 18th. In Birmingham and Rio de Janeiro, I believe. So in terms of like the use of this tier list, this is going to be heavy for casual play, local play, online ladder, league cups, league challenges, stuff like that. But it shouldn't affect anyone's like regional picks. Like, you still have plenty of time for your next regionals. Even if you're going to those two that I just mentioned on the 18th, there will be another episode or two out before then. And if you're like looking to pick a deck, don't worry too much right now. I think this is going to give you a good idea on the direction of the meta, and maybe this should help you kind of pick those like top 2, 3, maybe 4 decks that you want to decide between. But in terms of making a choice now, the meta can still change a lot. Online tournaments are going to be bigger than ever because there's a big break. So I think this is going to be a good idea on like what should I play to big tournaments and really test out. If that puts some light on where this tier list is going to go and like the biggest use for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're in such a big break right now, like our tier list, bring this to like Dooms tourneys on like Friday nights.
Yeah,
like that's really what I want you guys to see. Get some random card to limitless page for us. There has been only one player to get Pokeball a day 2 on Limitless. There's only one player to bring Pokeball to a regional and get it its own page.
Wait, I'm actually curious if something from my day 2 list had an only appearance in mine. It might have. For those of you who don't know, I played Arceus, Flying Pikachu, Tapu Koko VMAX to day 2 in Pittsburgh last year, and I had some ridiculous cards in that deck. I have to check now. Now I'm like really curious. Anyway, sorry, total side tangent. Yeah, some of these decks need a limitless page. Some of the cards in these decks need a limitless page. And actually, I'm trying to think if anything here doesn't have one. I'm not sure. But if there is, you should definitely do it. So I'm good to kind of jump in this tier list if you are, though.
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
All right, for sure. Starting up hot, we got Ancient Box, which, I don't know about you, I had it in the B tier. Oh, wait, actually, before we do jump in, just want to go over the tier list real quick. We got, instead of S, A, B, C, D, we got BDIF as the S tier, so that'll be the best deck in the format with maybe like one bad matchup, all around, insane consistency. It's going to swing amazing into everything. Almost like Mew VMAX at different points, Silver Tempest Lugia. That's kind of what I'm thinking with BDIF. A for amazing pick. This is the pick I would take. I feel like most people will take to a regional because it's dominating the meta with maybe 2, 3 bad matchups max. For the most part, it's really going to float around like 2 bad matchups and kind of swing well into everything, be really popular, have insane results over the past couple weeks, stuff like that. B is not mid. It's the bulk of the meta. B tier will be the majority of what you will see. These decks might have 3 or 4 bad matchups, but overall they're going to have insane consistency and be legit picks to these big tournaments, big regionals, league cups, and league challenges. C tier is going to be where I love my decks. Those are the come up rogue decks. Maybe a deck that we thought was super powerful is having like a rough time, some bad matchups, a bit more than we thought. We don't know what's going on, and it's still an amazing deck, and we think it could have a good like rogue performance. It's not going to be very popular. There's going to be a bunch of decks in C tier today. D does stand for don't play this. That's where all the mid or bad decks will be. There will be a lot of decks that are functionally good, but maybe just doing really bad right now, or just in general, maybe they're just not good. We don't mean to offend anyone by putting a deck in D tier. It doesn't mean it's not amazing in itself and you can't have an amazing result with it. We just think in terms of safety and statistically what is doing well over the past couple weeks and what's looking good into how the format looks, the decks are generally going to come from D tier, but that doesn't mean they can't have a pop out performance. And again, I would love to be proven wrong. So if you do see a deck in D tier and you go and win the next regional and then you specifically at me in the shout out at the end, I can't say I'll be that mad at you. I think that would be pretty epic. All right, cool. Yeah, now that that rant is done, I think I'm good.
I think we're good too. Like, if the deck's a D tier, bring it to your locals. You make everyone happy. Be the person that people come to after their game is done.
Yes. Yeah. Take a D tier deck. Tell me I'm wrong, win a regional, and then on the shout out they give you at the end in the interview, call me out. That's what we want.
And we're gonna make day 2, so we're gonna see it live.
Yo, for real.
Point us out specifically.
Yo, the Battle VIP podcast, just incorrect. All lies. Just kidding. We try our best. Obviously, we're not perfect, and I wouldn't even say we're like the highest level of player. We don't really go to many regionals. We go to what we could afford, which is where I feel like the majority of people.
Essentially,
we're giving the majority of the people vote. We're trying to speak for the people with these. And anyways, back to Ancient Box. I got it in B tier. I got it as a legit pretty high up B tier deck.
I got it there too. I put it towards the top end of B tier.
Me too.
Just because with like the new cards that are coming out, things like Blender and stuff like that, you can really accelerate that discard pile being full of ancient cards. And on turn 2, you could, in theory, if you go first, you could probably take out some like big basics on turn 2.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, because I've actually seen a few of the debates on like Secret Box and Brilliant Blender on Twitter. This is the deck I would have brought to Toronto. I had a list I would have played. Hand Trimmer needs to be in the deck. That card is cracked. I mean, 1, thinning your opponent's hand. 2, just being able to get rid of all the Flutter Mains and Great Tusks, and even Koraidons you're not using without Ultra Balls is insane. But back to the Ace spec, I am a firm believer that Secret Box is just infinitely better than Brilliant Blender for the deck. Brilliant Blender, for 1 card, allows you to get 5 ancient cards in the discard pile, which is insanely nice. But with Secret Box, you can discard 3 ancient cards with it to get a supporter, Professor Sada's, to get an item, Earthen Vessel, to get a tool, Ancient Booster Capsule, and a Stadium Pokestop. So then you can use Earthen Vessel to get rid of Ancient Box. Now you've already got 5 cards in the discard. Then you can get Energy to use Greninja, start ripping your Sadas, and then place Pokestop to try to get rid of more Ancient cards. Like, I have trouble seeing how the debate for Brilliant Blender is better than Secret Box. You get a perfect hand instantly, and I feel like 9 times out of 10 you're discarding more than 5. And I think that is insane.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I like Secret Box too. I just say Brilliant Blender for more of like a turbo build. Like, you want to be swinging hard turn 2.
No, that's fair. But even with that deck, I don't even know if that's something I like worry about. Like, I did a lot of playing with this deck in the past couple weeks, and honestly, swinging for like 120 with Roaring Moon isn't even bad on turn 1. A lot of times we're up against a lot of evolving decks right now, and if you're not, that's perfect math for you to set up a 2-shot KO on like Lugia V-Star, Reggie Drago, even like, you know, you're taking out like Pidgeys and stuff, but Rotom you could deal with in 2 shots, like stuff like that, which I think is nice, especially with the new Koraidon, which swings for 180 if you attacked with any of your other ancient Pokemon in the turn before. And I think with the addition of Koraidon, you don't need as much of a turbo build. You feel pretty comfortable swinging 180 into a lot of big decks. And again, if you're up against Charizard, you're like, oh, well, you're not KOing Charizard in 2 shots with like that 120 attack damage. You're right, but it's your first turn and you're KOing Charmander, so what's the problem?
Yeah, like if I'm going against, like, I haven't played Ancient Box that much at all, so like I'm very inexperienced with it.
No, that's fair.
Like, I would have a field day if I have to go against like evolving decks, because I will make sure I target out every single one of your attackers, and I might even take a Pidgey for collateral.
Yeah, and I think that's what's hard depending on which evolving deck, because I know Charizard is a very difficult matchup for Ancient Box. Personally, I think it's gotten better with Koraidon. I think people are just kind of experimenting with the perfect Pokemon count, but I think if you fall back on Koraidon, ideally, you're one-shotting a Pidgeot at one point with Roaring Moon with one of your counter catchers. You're two-shotting a Charizard somewhere in the early to mid-game. And you're one-shotting Rotom, Luminion, really any 2-prize Pokemon with Koraidon by itself. Which I feel like is kind of insane. Even if you gotta fall back on Koraidon more, you're two-shotting Charizard. Like, perfectly. Like, again, it's still a rough matchup. I don't think it's a positive matchup. I just think it's more manageable. Like, if you look online in the past 2 weeks of tournaments with 50 more people, it's got like a 40% win percentage. I honestly, like, my personal one, I think I was around like 46, 47. Like, I was much, much closer to a 50-50. And I think between Secret Box for guaranteed consistency and Koraidon, you do much better into those stage 2 evolving decks. I think the stage 1 evolving decks, the turbo build might be kind of, I'm thinking like Reggie Drago. Like, I think that feels good, but Ancient Box still deals with those well. It's kind of always done well against those.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Ancient Box is a great play right now. I think over the next few weeks, if you're looking in the future, I think this deck is going to have a lot of longevity to it. It's very affordable. I think if you're just a casual player that doesn't go to an insane amount of regionals and you want a deck that will just be a consistently solid and respectable pick, I think this deck is going to be one of the best decks in terms of affordability and longevity. So I would definitely look into asking for Ancient Box for Christmas from your loved ones. Tell them that's what you want. You want Ancient Box. They're not going to know what it means. That's okay. Tell them to look it up.
Ask them to get to 60.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you'll be happy. You'll open up each individual card, individually wrapped under the tree.
Facts.
And that's all you could really ask for.
Nah, for real. Going into the next deck, we got Arch Aladdin. Where you got this guy?
I'm curious to see where you got this guy.
I had it in D, don't play.
I'm not going to lie, I had it in C. I had it like bottom of C. I think that there's potential. But considering not only is rotation happening soon, so you're going to lose half the deck,
yeah.
But also there's just other things to pair this silly guy with that would probably do a little bit better for you.
That's fair. Honestly, I don't hate C. I don't hate low C for this deck. I think this deck is viable. I think the energy switch card or whatever
Energy
it is.
scramble or
energy
scramble switch.
Scramble switch. Thank you. I think that build is actually really good. I think a 1-of Relicanth is kind of essential, so your Arch Aladdin could swing a little harder than 220 a lot of times. I think into a Regidrago dominated format, which is what we're going to see after Toronto. I think this deck actually can hang with that really well because of Star Chronos. I think where this deck falls off is, like you said, people are experimenting too much. Maybe this isn't the perfect partner. Maybe Relicanth is better because of Regidrago. I'm not sure. I guess I just had it in D because I haven't seen a perfect list in weeks for it, nor have I seen great results for it. So I am still in the same boat, kind of floating around that C or D. I like C, though. I think the deck has a lot of teeth.
I think it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, I just think this is going to be one of those, almost like Regidrago. I feel like right now, this card is sitting in bulk binders. I mean, they're, 70 cents a pop for Arch Aladdin EXs? I think in the future at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I personally love the card, I do think that this card is going to pop off like Regidrago. Regidrago V-Star was a bulk card of bulk cards in terms of V-Stars, and then all of a sudden the deck was the hottest deck to play. I think Arch Aladdin is going to have a time to shine. I think this deck is going to be insane. It's honestly too good not to. There's too good combos with it. And people generally like metal Pokemon. I feel like a lot of rogue players love metal cards because they're fun, they're unique, and this one definitely is that. I don't think rotation should be an issue or a worry for people. That is 5 months away or 4 months away. There is so many games that can be played. Like, if you think about it, you're losing what? Dialga V-Star. Okay, buy a 2/2 line for $6, maybe $8. You're telling me you're not going to get $8 worth in the next 4 months? I don't think that's a worry yet.
I don't think it is either. I think it's worth picking up. I don't think the deck is overall that expensive either.
No, not
might
at all.
even be worth just getting just to have it sitting in your closet.
Yeah,
or
no,
even just
I agree.
print out proxies and hang out with friends at a kitchen table gameplay.
Yes, no, 100% agree. I think this is a really fun deck, and I think with time we're gonna see this set kind of pop off. We just need to see who cooks up the best build at the right time for it, and I think one day we will see that. I don't know if that's right now though, so I like that low C tier. Jumping into the next one, Snorlax Stall.
I got this in A. I think Stall is under-respected as always, and it can really just mess your entire day up if you go against it, depending on how you play it. People have learned the matchup so far, so people are a lot more wary to bench things that they can't really get out of the active or can't really attack with. But there are some cards where you have to have them out, and if you don't, you're just gonna have a bad time. Things like Pidgeots. Unless you're a freak like me, you're not gonna be attacking with Pidgeot. You don't got the Neo Upper for that.
No,
who's going to be attacking with that? And if you knock out the Snorlax, they probably just got another one sitting on the bench right for you.
That's fair.
So I think that Stall is very, very... I'm not going to say it's fun, because I don't like playing against it, but you know what I mean? It's if you are chilling with your guys in the voice channel, and y'all are playing in the Senior Doom tournament, all run Stall, have fun. Just screen share everyone's game. Just go wild.
Have 8 people playing each Stall deck.
Exactly.
I had it in B tier, and one of the big reasons I had it in B tier was this deck is kind of suffering from a lot of auto losses right now. Not in a lot, because it's I was between A and B. I was between bottom of A and towards the top of B, because there's a lot of Petron EX running around right now, and I think that innately just destroys stall. I think Roaring Moon is in a very good position right now. I think Ancient Box has been seeing a lot more Petruns to deal with stall. Roaring Moon is playing a lot of Petruns to deal with stall. Cloth is insanely popular and plays Petrun. Like, and I think when you deal with cards like that, I don't know how you're supposed to compete. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that just makes it very, very difficult. Even Iron Thorns players, it's not hard to tech for a stall deck because you only play 4 Thorns. Sure, they might play 2 Mimic You. You'll play a couple Canceling Clones, and you'll beat stick your way through, you know, or just kind of boss and gust stuff up and around to take those 6 prize KOs. So I had it in B tier just because I feel like there are, I think, just too many decks, like, that keep it out of A. Like, if you look at excuse me, well, that was bad. The statistics, I could pull it up right now too. It's pretty quick. It does have more auto losses than I think is healthy for an A tier deck. Just at a real quick glance, we've got 25% or less win percentage into Hydreigon, Cloth, Pidgeot, Roaring Moon, and Ancient Box. That's bad.
Yeah, stall kind of gets smoked in a lot of things, but
yeah.
You know what? Honestly, I still don't think it's that bad.
No, I'll keep it an A. I like that. You gave really good points. It's not respected. It does really well. Going into the holiday season, ruin people's holidays. Play stall. I don't hate it. I'll leave it
locals and take the jolly out of the holidays.
That's crazy.
You have someone coming in there with like a full Christmas tree suit on, Christmas lights hanging off. Like, guess what? They leaving that way.
That's wild.
Be the reason someone gets one less present this year. Be that guy.
My guys better pull up to a tournament dressed as the Grinch playing stall. I love it.
Nah, do that, please. If somebody does that, tag us. That would be the funniest thing I'll ever see in my life.
No, I don't hate it. I just wanted to explain the Petron thing so people don't like scream at us. It's something to watch out for. If you're going to your locals and you know 6 of those guys are playing, like, who knows, even the loyal 3 deck, like, pulling something crazy, but you know Petron's an issue at your locals, like, maybe stall isn't the play. But I think, like, a Tournament of Doom, a late night, yeah, I think stall's gonna have some great results, and I think it's a very strong deck. People aren't respecting it. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'll keep it an A. I like that.
Hell yeah. Alright, what do we got next?
Ceruledge.
Ooh.
I've got it in C.
I got it in C, too. Yeah. I just think that it's a, on paper, this deck cooks, but I just don't see it really doing much at all. I mean, I was watching all of the regionals, and I don't remember seeing like much of it at all there.
I know a couple people played it. I don't remember how well they did. Like at Toronto. I was kind of stalking Twitter and saying congrats to a bunch of people that made 2. I don't remember seeing much Ceruledge. I don't, especially with the popularity of Regidrago right now, it's a problem if they kind of hit you with that turn 2 Kyurem and you can't evolve, and I think especially into a meta like that, this deck is going to fall apart. And it's going to fall apart pretty hard. And I think Goldengo's a slightly better way to play the deck. I mean, if you don't mind jumping, we could jump to Goldengo. I know I got it in this tier list somewhere with Togekiss. Where is this card? Right here. I had it in C just above Ceruledge. I think between the two, they have similar concepts of the more energy in hand / discard, the more you're swinging. I think Goldengo's a little bit better, but I don't think either are great. And I know people are telling me Goldengo's the wave and Goldengo's fun, and Ceruledge is the same concept. I think Ceruledge is one of the most fun decks I've played in a while. That deck is honestly, it's not thinking, it's just discarding, and that's kind of fun. It's a good brain break, but like you said, it doesn't swing well into a lot. And I don't think Goldengo does either. I think the only thing Goldengo has going for it that Ceruledge doesn't is a coin flip with Togekiss. And don't get me wrong, I'll gamble my heart and soul away, but I don't know if I'll do that at a regionals. I'm looking to perform well at it, not like just meme around.
Especially considering like Goldengo has like a ticket to insta one-shot anything it wants.
Yeah.
If you can get Energy Search Pro out while you're playing Goldengo, it doesn't matter what your opponent has in the active spot. It's cooked. Yeah. And like, for me, who plays Hydreigon and exclusively mains it now, Goldengo is my toughest matchup. It just cooks me every single time.
And I think Ceruledge and Goldengo both have like decent matchups into a few things. Like, I'm not saying the decks are trash. I'm not saying don't play them. I think compared to a lot of the other decks we're gonna throw on this tier list, I don't think Goldengo or Ceruledge kind of have the consistency or like the teeth and weapons to go toe-to-toe with a lot of the other big guns right now. That being said, like, we've seen Goldengo do amazing. I'm sure Cyrilege will have times where it shines. I think both of those are going to be more of a, like, situationally meta-dependent type of call, and I think it's going to be one of those decks for a while at least, where when it does well, it was a really good meta call, more so than this is going to be the next, like, BDIF type thing.
Yeah, I think that there's a potential, but they're gonna have to realize that potential very, very soon, or else they're gonna lose half their deck.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. Jumping into the next one, this is one of the big ones. We got Charizard EX.
I have it in A.
Right,
I think Zard is just like one of those decks that like it's the pick up and play, very, very safe pick. It is probably the safest pick for any level of play, for any level of player. Period.
I completely agree. If you're a new player, the deck won't let you do that bad. Sure, you'll make mistakes. Sure, you'll misplay. But the deck is so naturally strong, you're still going to perform well and get kind of hooked into the game because you have a deck that will help you. And if you're experienced, well, this skill ceiling for Charizard is insanely high. You will win regionals. Yeah. Well said.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. No, this deck is... I don't think there's a better way to explain the deck. It's the safest pick, no matter what you're going for. Word. Anything else you need to add to Charizard?
I played it for like 3 weeks straight, and I think it helped me figure out how to play Hydreigon well enough, but...
That's what's nice about Charizard, man. Even if you're not a meta guy, like, I know you're not, but it does help experienced players. You've been playing this game for years. It helps you learn how to, like, adapt to a different style of Stage 2 style deck of play. Like, that type of strategy, because it's different than a lot of other decks, especially Chiampao, which you're used to. And I think Charizard is great for people learning of all levels, for people looking to compete at high levels. Affordability, the Charizard box just came out. It's not expensive to order Dusknoirs. That's pretty much the only thing you need to swap out is the 212 Dusknoir line. Or 211, excuse me. But yeah, no, this deck is awesome.
Yeah, literally. Mm-hmm. Cheaper than probably half the decks in the format right now, easily.
Probably, yeah.
Just pick it up and you'll perform.
$30.
$30 and swap out like 2 or 3 cards. You're winning locals. You're winning regionals.
You could probably just buy the $30 box and still win your locals.
Just run it roll. I'm like, if I had one at third, I'd probably just like show Sonya the deck list. I'll take the one that's in the box and hand it to her. Like,
cut it out of the bag.
I'm playing this.
No, I respect it. Jumping into our next deck, I got Dragapult, just straight Dragapult.
I got it in like top of B. I think Dragapult's an awesome pick right now.
All right.
There's
I had
a lot.
It in top of C.
Ooh, all right.
I'm gonna hear you out. I'm gonna put it in B. Let me hear it.
For an experienced player that knows how to move damage around, you can sweep games at the snap of a finger. There's a lot of Dragapult players that are like insanely like massive brain, giga brain. Mm-hmm. They're taking 4 prize card turns, 5 prize card turns. That like nobody's business. But there are a lot of shortcomings to Dragapult. Like, you could just take the Dragapult and just put it in Regidrago and do the same thing.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I would love to critique... It's not even critique one thing. I don't actually know the word to explain why I had this deck in C tier. The only way... Actually, you know what? The only way I could explain this is if I explain the next deck I wanted to talk about. I had this deck in the top of C tier because I feel like all of the bad matchups that Dragapult faces, such as Lugia, are fixed with Dragapult Iron Thorns. And that is a new archetype of Dragapult that is doing insane. For all the reasons you just said, except the addition of Thorns, the addition of, like, 3 Iron Thorns, 4, however many, fixes so much. And I think it kind of moves Dragapult to C, and we're starting to see a new archetype of Dragapult, which involved everything you just said. All of the damage moving, the high tier plays, the strong, big HP, swings well into a lot of things, sets yourself up for 4 prize card turns, and with Iron Thorns now you shut down things like Lugia, you shut down things like Regidrago, you shut down, you can make your Gardevoir matchup even more annoying. You're not just spreading damage counters, you're stopping Gardevoir at random points. You're stopping Claw from getting going instantly. I just think that's too strong to totally overlook.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah, so I had, if you don't mind, because I like Dragapult in C. I think it's more rogue. It's not that it's not strong. I think it's just more of a rogue pick. I would be more surprised if people are playing Raw Dog Dragapult than Dragapult Iron Thorns, which is why I had that one in B as bulk of the meta.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm going to put it at top of B because I like what you were saying. I think Dragapult is well positioned, so I got that one in the top.
I like it.
Word. Jumping into the next deck, we got Flygon EX.
I don't have many opinions on this. I personally haven't seen many people play it, which would, at least for me, I would put it in like probably lower B, higher C. I haven't seen it much at all, at least personally. So like, I mean, I guess for me, it's
I had
like,
it in D.
I legitimately have not seen it. The first attack, it looks like
it's fun.
It's a fun attack. It's just not worth it. It's
you want to
like,
sit behind certain Pokemon to use them as walls? Why don't you just play a wall archetype? Why don't you just play Melodic, play Noivern, play Ogerpon, play Mimic? Just make a deck without the Flygon, and you'll probably have more success because you're not relying on something else.
What if you Flygon into Thorns?
Again, play Iron Thorns. Like, I had it in D. I don't think it's worth playing. It's a fun Pokemon. Again, bring it to a locals. It will be the most fun deck at your locals tournament. You want to go to regionals? You want to sit behind other wall type archetypes?
Don't bring it.
But like, just play a wall archetype.
Leave it at home.
I don't know. I got it in D. I feel like the best I could throw this deck is C. I've played it a little bit past. I did make the video on it, but I played some other games with it just because I had a bit of fun. It's not as consistent as you'd expect it to be, even with just one energy attacking. I think the issue is there's a lot of Gust cards in the format. A lot of decks are playing multiple Pokemon catchers, so they're not just playing 2 bosses orders and a counter catcher. They're playing 2 bosses orders, a counter catcher, and like 3 Pokemon catchers or some BS. And I think stuff like that just kind of kills Flygon.
Yeah, and not to mention, that second attack is almost useless. If it was placed 10 damage counters, it'd be like 8 billion times better.
Yeah.
But no, it's 100 damage. You know what half of Pokemon EX have? They have this fun little box on top of the art that says, yeah, this thing can't be touched if it's not in the active spot.
My favorite Terra rule, yeah.
Yeah.
You like forget about it until you happen to play this card, and then you're like, oh my god, that's what Terras do. Yeah, no, I agree. Again, I got it in D tier. I don't know. This deck I don't think has enough. I don't think it has enough to hang.
Maybe someday someone will come out with like some cracked setup and just like...
Which would be amazing. I'd love it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right now. Our next deck, Gardevoir.
Oh god. Easiest B tier of at least my life. I just don't... Like, it's not the best deck in the world. Like I said last time, if you're not like a very experienced player and you're not... And on top of that, you're not experienced with Gardevoir... It's not even worth picking up. It's one of those high skill ceiling, high skill floor decks that like you need to get up there to be able to pick this thing up and perform.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that hard. It's like, oh, Gardevoir, attach energy to Drift Bloom, knock out your... There's like so many little things that go on with the deck.
And it goes past understanding the concept of the deck. I think one of the hardest things that's like hard to master with Gardevoir is when you play this deck, you need to master a best of 1 format in 50 minutes. You need to master winning the first game because you don't have enough time to finish 2 and 3 games if you lose the first, if you want to get away with some wins. I think this deck, you ultimately want to win your first match in 40 minutes, so there's no shot your opponent is going to finish game 2. And I think it's knowledge, playability, and just being a decent human being that you're not actually slow playing and being, kind of scummy with stuff like that. That's hard to master because I get it. It's a best of 1 deck. You want to take a while in your first game, but it's also not fair if you're sitting there doing nothing for a minute every single time you do an action that was ultimately useless. Like, that's not fair to your opponent. That's not a best of 1 deck. That's cheesing the rules, and that's not, like, that's worth a judge call. That's worth a penalty. That's slow play. You need to master actually doing things and still taking 40 minutes. And that's knowledge beyond, like you said, high skill floor. Not just high deck concept knowledge, high just, like, Pokemon trading card game as a whole knowledge. And I think that is hard to master.
Absolutely. If you're playing at the speed of TCG Live's like basic speed, you're just not playing nice, and you're just, like you said, cheesing the rules.
Yeah.
If you're attaching an energy, grabbing your die, looking for the 2, then putting it there, and then you're doing it again, looking for the 4, like, you don't have time for that. You need to scram through your discard pile, find the 8 energy, and throw them on the board. Your opponent knows what's going on. Just slam it on the active and just say, you're gone.
The time has to be spent making other actions, making other non-useless actions. And I think that's a hard thing to do for Gardevoir. It sounds easy, and I think it's one of those things where it's like you have to play that deck in real life in a legit competitive setting. Even like print out proxies with your friend, set a timer on the kitchen table, and just play it through. And to have your friend know, like, hey, I want to learn how to make this deck a best of 1. Like, if Avery told me that, I would totally understand. And I would sit there and help him, and I would look at him and be like, yo, that turn, that was low-key, like, I don't know if that would fly. Like, that felt scummy. Obviously, I'm not offended. You're like my best friend, but you know what I mean? It's more like it's something you have to practice doing, and that's hard. So I like it in B tier. I got it in the same thing, dude. I think it's got some good matchups. I think it's got some bad matchups. Overall, I think it swings well into everything, and it has the potential to be everything, especially depending on your list. And if you play like Turo, for example, into stall. But yeah, no, I like B tier for this deck. Jumping into the next one, Gouging Fire.
I have this in like the bottom of, like, I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it do anything really.
No, that's fair.
I mean, it's a cool concept, really cool concept.
Yeah.
I love Delphox as a Pokemon.
Yeah.
I like. I'm a okay. I'll say it.
No, that's fair.
Don't play it.
Okay.
It's just not. It's just not really worth it. There are so many other decks, so many other things out there that like you could choose, and like it's just not worth bringing.
No, I agree. I mean, it swings hard. There's a lot of good fire support in the game. I mean, you got access to Mela, Magma Basin. You could use Monkey Dory with Luminous Energy, and because you got tank potential and Gouging Fire, you got access to Entei as well as Delphox. I mean, there is a lot the deck has to offer, but I feel like when you're playing a basic EX and V deck, you either want it to be like Miraidon, where you're taking extra prize cards via Iron Thorns, or you want it to be like Raging Bolt, where you're one-shotting for unlimited damage. And I think this deck is like the hybrid between the two. Your damage is kind of capped, like Miraidon, but you have the tank that like Raging Bolt has. And I think although that mix sounds kind of nice, I feel like generally like in the format we're in, I don't think it plays as well. I think you should double down on the Raging Bolt, infinite KO damage, or send your Gambling Addiction. Just start rolling die with start playing the lottery ticket of electric generator. That was the word. I don't know. Yeah, I got it in Don't Play too. I had it in C, but like bottom of C. Yeah. It's in D tier. Yeah.
Hurts me more because I'm a Gen 6 fan.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's fair. The next deck we got up is Hydreigon.
It's gotta sit and see. Y'all are trying way too hard to come up with these elaborate concepts. Just run it with Pidgeot. That's really all you need. Like, I might be one of those guys that's out here offering coaching sessions because my ability to Obsidian is unlike any human being on this planet.
Disgusting. It's not fair.
Just run it with Pidgeot. You don't need any of these other backup attackers and things like that. Just Hydreigon, Pidgeot, Fez, Lumineon, and Rotom. Those are the only Pokemon you need. Just keep it nice and simple. Because, like, that's what people did with Champao, and that's what ultimately killed Champao for the longest time. They either ran the first ever one that came out with, like, Iron Hands and things like that, or they experimented too much and got clapped because they don't know how to, like... They don't know that, like, specific matchup. They don't... It's awkward. Mm-hmm. Just run it the same way constantly. Pidgeot is one of the best engines you have right now, period. It has the best ability in the TCG. Point blank, period. Yeah. You can get whatever you want. Pidgeot for Neo Upper, attach that. Use Rotom, Force Seal Stone. You get 2 of whatever cards you want. Grab your candy, grab Hydreigon, grab Neo Upper, boom, Dragon Headbutt turn 2. Your opponent is cooked.
And I don't think you need Dusknoir. I think, like you said, the experimenting with Dusknoir, I don't think it's worth it. This might be one of the most, I feel like, complete attackers I've ever seen printed. You have 330 HP. Your top attack, not only does it 2-shot everything in the game, you mill your opponent. 3 cards, which is insane. Dude, Great Tusk Mill, a legitimate mill deck, mills 4 a turn. This one isn't even a mill deck, and it mills 3 a turn. Plus, you don't need Dusknoir, because if you're 130 damage off, set up Obsidian the next turn and take 6 prizes. Like, it's...
Yeah, for real.
I think all the space for Dusknoirs and stuff like that, stick an extra Briar in your deck, stick an extra, like, I don't know, Metal or Psychic Energy or a Earthen Vessel or a Crispin, stuff like that. Like, it's... Yeah, I think we're doing too much. I think the matchup... I think this deck can, and will be very dominant at one point. I think people need to slow down, understand that this card doesn't need any friends. You need this, Pidgeot, and a Dream. And the Dream is very realistic, and people will see a lot more success.
Yeah, like, Counter Gain just lets you do 200 for 1 energy in Mill 3. If that's not insane, I don't know what is. You don't need Dusknoir. You don't.
Yeah, I think that space could be better utilized.
Like, knock yourself out, and, you're taking 2 prizes, they take 1. But you're just going to end up taking the 2 prizes anyway.
Yeah.
And if you get an Obsidian off, guess what? Against a deck that runs Radiant Greninja, that's Radiant Greninja, your opponent's active, and another, like, support Pokemon on the bench.
Yeah, that's the Charizard EX in the active. It's 2-shotting Rotom, Mew. It's 2-shotting, all those basic EX and V support Pokemon, Squawk, Lumineon, all those. Like you said, most Radiants, it'll take out Radiant Sneasler, Radiant Greninja, not Radiant Charizard, but still, it's like, it's insane. Yeah, I got it in C, I got it in Rogue, same exact thing. I think this deck needs to be, I think people need to slow down, look at the list, realize we could refine these lists a lot more, and I think that's very well said.
This deck has the ability to tell your opponent, I win next turn, figure it out on its like 2nd turn or 3rd turn playing.
Yeah, man.
Now I'm one for like a longer, more slow-paced format. But denying the strength of Hydreigon is just being ignorant. I don't know what else to say. This deck can cook. Stop trying to burn. Like, you're tossing something in the oven at 1,000 because you think it's gonna cook quicker. Like, that's not what's happening.
No, it's
fair. You got to get the right ingredients. We have the ingredients. You got to get the right temperature. We have the right temperature. We know what to do. Just apply it.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be different. Don't be unique. All right.
Says the Rogue Pokemon channel.
Word. Yeah. That's against our philosophy. But for this deck is specific.
You're unique by playing Hydreigon. You don't need more. You're good. You're golden. You're beautiful. Just play the Hydreigon.
Exactly. How many people at your locals are playing this deck? Probably
you.
1.
Me. It's you. Yeah.
I'm the guy. And I'm gonna be sitting there, and I'm gonna have a grin on my face as I sit there and get 5th place.
Well said. Next up, I got Iron Thorns. Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I got it in A tier.
Me too.
Okay, cool.
Thorns is like in the same realm of stalls. People don't respect it.
I got it over stall. This deck's insane
real,
right now.
People just don't care enough to... Thorns is on a rise right now. You've come up with an archetype. Just Thorns and whatever.
Dude, Thorns, Crispin, Arven is a legit archetype. I don't care for playing Quad Thorns. If you haven't seen my last YouTube video with Iron Thorns and Goodra V-Star, I think that overall... Take out the Goodra V-Star and insert Giratina V-Star, insert Goodra V-Star, insert pretty much any dragon Pokemon, any Dragon V-Star EX, or any Pokemon that needs 2-3 energy to set up and is like a little complicated, and boom, you could pair it with Iron Thorns, you slow your opponent down, you got ultimate combo potential with it. Like, that deck was insanely consistent. It did insanely well. Quad Thorns doesn't need friends. If you just want to play Quad Thorns, you're going to auto-win half the matchup. Every Lugia player you see, if they don't play Fluttermane, is going to scoop within 4 seconds. Like, Regidrago's always kind of had a rough time against Thorns. I think we've got the technology to kind of heal, loop, and deal with Thorns. Some players aren't playing Cologne anymore because Thorns has fallen off. Like, play Thorns. And make sure you play Cologne when you play Thorns so you can deal with Mimikyu. But just play Thorns. It's good. It's great. I think it's an amazing pick right now for sure.
Genuinely, I agree.
Yeah. Cool. I got Cloth up next.
I got him top B. Easy top B. Cloth is insane. It is one of my favorite decks. I was thinking about A.
That deck is unhinged, bro.
It really is.
Shout out that pun.
There's so many ways to make Cloth like insane. It is actually something to look out
It's
for.
got great matchups. It's consistent. It's strong. It utilizes single prizers insanely well, and you could win on your first turn if you donk with the single prize Petra run. I mean, this deck does a lot that we haven't seen. I don't know about ever. I mean, we knew donk decks were annoying. Now you could get donked on turn 1 going first, like when your opponent is going first if they're playing Cloth. That's crazy. I think into this meta as well, Cloth is legit, man. Cloth can hang against Charizard with super effective glasses on the Electrode V. You can hang against all the other basic EX decks because Cloth just swings for KO with Mochi. It's got answers to so many. It plays Petron. Stall's a problem. You play Petron anyways. You're fine. I don't know how you stop a deck like Cloth right now. I mean, there's ways. It doesn't have perfect matchups into everything. I think Ancient Box is one of those decks that has a decent Cloth matchup because it's all single prizers. Same thing with Sablezard. But I think Cloth is A tier. It's, like you said, amazing. It's doing so well right now, and I love it. And I have it in A for that reason.
I'm bumping it up. You could not have made that any more clear of a point.
I appreciate it. Jumping into the next one, I've got Lost Box Pikachu EX in B tier.
Yeah, I mean, there's other ways to play Pikachu, and I think that one that comes up later is probably a more efficient way to play Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that with the Lost Box, you have to do so much to achieve what other archetypes can achieve like that.
Yeah, and loop it. I think you could set up the Pikachu fine. I don't think that's the problem. It's the resources you expend to set up Pikachu twice. Because the ability implies you're using this thing minimum 2 turns. And I think Lost Box expends, like you said, too much. It does too much to get that Pikachu going. I think it's the most popular way to play Pikachu. I don't think it's the most efficient.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you Lost Box players are persistent. I respect it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta, there's a difference between stubbornness and believing in it. There's like a difference.
I think it's funny that as you say that, Lost Box Pikachu is sitting next to Gardevoir on my tier list.
One and the same.
We're gonna jump on to the next deck after that. I'm gonna let that simmer for people. I got Lugia V-Star. Actually, speaking of...
Lugia V-Star.
Throwing it right above Gardevoir and Lost Box Pikachu in B tier. I think this deck is actually on a good comeback right now. I think we haven't gotten to Regidrago, but surprise, Regidrago's going in A tier, which we'll get to. I think into Regidrago, into Charizard, even into Cloth, into Stall, Lugia does well into a lot of those matchups. I think the popularity of Iron Thorns, the new combos people are experimenting with Thorns, such as Dragapult Iron Thorns, I think the addition of just Pikachu EX into the format kind of hold Lugia back from where it was. That being said, it does really well into a lot of the top tier decks. I think it fell off for a bit, fell off for a good month. I think now's the time to put it back out in the sleeves. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close, and I like it a lot right now.
Me too. I think Lugia is like, it used to be a don't play unless your name ends in ready, but like nowadays it's more so like bring it out of the binders.
Yeah.
Bring it to a locals, bring it to a regionals. You
And
might
win
do
it.
well, you might not.
And win it.
Yeah, and win it, and
Yeah.
win it.
As long as you start Lugia V with Ultra Ball and Archeops in hand, you'll win it.
Yep, if you don't, then like, good luck.
Yeah.
You should probably have 6 energy and a Lugia V.
I like that. The next 2 decks we can do together, it is the wall archetypes. We got Melodic EX and Noivern EX, and then the second one is Mimikyu Ogerpon. So we've got like the evolution type, which I think is a better lock but harder to set up, and then the basic type, which is not as strong a lock but significantly easier to set up and get going with. Both of those I've got in C.
Yeah.
Top of C. I think
Absolutely
Control is well positioned right now. I think these decks are actually in a pretty good, a very respectable spot right now. I just think these are 2 of the decks where there's no perfect list. It's to the player to determine the fastest way they can set up. These Pokemon. I think depending on your skill level and your knowledge of not these decks, but what you're up against will determine how you build the deck. And it depends what tournament you're bringing it to. If you bring this to a locals, you can gear these to be geared towards what you'll see at locals. If you're playing it to an online tournament, you have to gear it towards a much broader aspect of the meta. So there's never going to be a perfect 60 for these. It is going to be very, very situationally dependent. And I think there's more expression in how you chose to play this deck than playing it itself. And I think that's what kind of keeps it at a rogue level, is there's much more experimenting. There's much less data on the perfect list for either of these.
Yeah. Time will tell. Time will definitely tell.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of wall decks because I feel like I just don't like... I like to attack. I like to do like these things where like I really do engage constantly. Because like if my brain is left to think on something else for more than 1 second, it's not a good sign. I need to be constantly engaged in something. So for me to like sit there and just like draw past, it is like probably the worst thing for me personally.
No, it's not card draw simulator. And I was literally gonna say one of the reasons I love these archetypes is it's not Snorlax Stall. Yeah, I love telling your opponent to figure it out. I love seeing how people come up with creative ways to beat hard decks, hard to play against decks. Stall was the first example of that, where I kind of created my own stall list back like 2 years ago, when like, you know, Snorlax was still kind of new. I think Melodic and Ogre Pawn and cards like that tell your opponent to figure it out, but it's not draw pass, it's draw attack. And I think that's better.
Better, but like... I say 2 words, yeah.
Yeah. Draw, yeah, okay. I attack. Figure it out.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
Yep.
Can you scoop, please, so I can move on with my life?
Yep. And I love those archetypes. I think they're a lot of fun. So I think those 2 decks are... In C, I think they're rogue, but I think they're pretty solid. Jumping into the next deck, we got Miraidon EX.
Oh boy, this one's a silly one, right? It's, do you enjoy gambling?
Yeah.
If yes, play Miraidon. If you whiff your generators, you lose.
Now, I wanted this deck to be in B tier really bad. Its matchup spread is pretty rough right now. It's got like 2 good matchups. The rest are in the low 40s, and I don't think that's a good spot. I think there's too many evolution decks. I got it at the top C.
It's still a decent deck. It still does It's still good to play. Mm-hmm. It still hits. It still does everything a normal deck would. Mm-hmm. But like you said, if the matchups aren't looking good and you're relying on a item card to really get going, I think that it's going to be very interesting.
An item card where you gamble specifically. It's not a guaranteed hit every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it in Rogue. Not Rogue. I got it kind of on the C tier, where it's like it's amazing. It's an amazing deck. It's won many regionals. It's got one of the best histories, I think, in a long time. Like, it's a very, very respectable deck. I think the format is kind of what's holding this deck back from going back into the bulk of the meta, which is kind of keeping it as a more rogue style deck, where it's just less popular right now.
Agreed.
Yeah. Jumping into the next one, we got... All right. These were interesting, and actually, it took me a second to rank these. Palkia Dusknoir and Palkia Noctowl.
I mean, y'all already know how I feel about the Dusknoir build. I just don't see the point of it. So I got it at like... I tried so hard to keep it out of the D tier, at least for me personally. I got it in C. I think that it's something that's like, you can pick it up and play it. It'll probably do all right. Might even do good.
Okay.
It's just not something that I would personally bring anywhere.
So
I just think that the Noctowl build is like infinitely better.
I love that whole statement so much. I bumped Dusknoir lower. I did have it in D tier. Its matchup spread is awful. If you look at this deck's history in the past 2 weeks at tournaments of 50 or more players, the deck is performing very badly. I think it had one 50-50 matchup, and other than that, maybe 2. Other than that, it just wasn't swinging well into a lot. Palkia Noctowl, I had as my sleeper pick in B. I had it at a better position than C. It's actually got a lot of solid matchups. It does really good against Regidrago as well, which is getting super popular. I kind of love Palkia Noctowl. I've got it, honestly, I'll put it at the second deck in B. I think it's a great pick. I think it's stronger than Dusknoir. You more reliably have bigger bench damage. You don't need to rely on Dusknoir as much. You could still play a 1-1 line, like a 1-1-1 line if you want, but it's not necessary. Like, I got Palkia Dusknoir in D tier because its matchup spread is pretty trash, and I got Palkia Noctowl in B tier because its matchup spread is very underrated right now.
Absolutely. I love it with the Noctowl build because you get to rely on things like Terapagos. You get the Gengar that lets you bring it from the discard pile. Oh, you got rid of my stadium? All right, well, that's just a Pokemon that I can bring back at any time. That's an extra bit of damage. You got a 3/3 line, Hoo Noctowl. You're just never not gonna have trainers to pick from. You got your Fan Rotom. You got your Bibarel Draw Engine. Like, there's really never a spot where you're going to be completely stuck unless you have a absolutely horrendous draw.
And you get access to one of the best single prize attackers in the game, Radiant Greninja. There's not many decks that
Absolutely.
use Radiant Greninja as well as Palkia ever has. I think those two cards go so hand in hand. You have an amazing two prize attacker, which can out one-shot many two prize Pokemon in the game, with the exception of Charizard. And I'm sure you can figure out ways to boost the damage and KO Charizard. If you don't already with full benches from Area Zero, or just like one full bench on your end from it. I don't know the Pokemon math perfectly like that, but having access to Radiant Greninja in the early game to just smack down, take two prize cards if your opponent doesn't play Manaphy or didn't get Manaphy down, that is insane. Like, how do you overlook that? And I think with Knocked Owl, like you said, your consistency is through the roof. Palkia decks have always been very consistent, always very strong, always very low skill floor, like easy to play, but super high skill ceiling, and I think Knocked Owl feeds into both of those things very well.
Absolutely. Palkia has always been like my secondary attacker ever since I picked up GM
Yeah.
Palkia is just like insane. It's really fun. Sometimes it would even be my main attacker. If I started off with a Palkia V and I didn't have any POWs or I didn't have like a Frigibax buddy, I would just play a Palkia build with an amazing secondary attacker. It is so good on its own. You can just Star Portal to Radiant Greninja. There you go. That's two free squishy knockouts. You're chilling.
Yep.
Why even bother with like losing a prize card just to do extra damage when you can just
take 2 for 1
Stadium and just do it yourself?
Yeah. No, I love it, dude. I think this deck is a good one. I think people should look into it more. Next deck I got is Pidgeot Control.
I got Pidgeot Control in A tier. I don't like playing against it. I think it's annoying getting hit with Xerosic and like 8 different trainers that ruin my day afterwards. But I think it's just like in a good spot. I mean, if you can just basically tell your opponent, no, figure it out. And that's essentially the entire like idea behind it.
Yeah.
Now, it might not have the, I mean, I'm not sure how the matchup spread looks for it specifically, but we saw one in top 8. Unfortunately, it had to face 6 Reggie Dracos. But that's a whole different discussion. I might take that to Twitter because, like, I might upset a few people with that.
No, I think you said that perfectly. I think Control's in an amazing spot. I think there's so many ways to play this deck, and there's no correct one because they're all really good. I think, again, All Out Blitzel, definitely someone people need to watch play for looking into Control, how to play it. You want to see someone experienced who's good at experimenting with different Control builds. I think All Out Blitzel is one of the best Control players I've seen specifically on Pidgeot. And I like watching him play. It blows my mind how strong this is, and I feel like I understand the deck enough to feel better making meta calls on it. It's got some great win percentages right now. It's got some great matchup spreads. There's a couple rough matchups, but I think depending on your list, there are techs, and they are like you are able to navigate them. So while it's impossible to say the true matchup spread because there's a lot of different variants, I think as a whole the matchup spread is baseline good enough where if you're worried about a deck or two at this tournament or that one, you can change up your list a little bit to dramatically change your what you're looking for and what you feel confident against. So I also got it in A tier. Cool. Jumping into the next one, you got Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt, I mean, I got it in A. I think Raging Bolt will forever be that one deck that's like hit for a gazillion, quintillion damage and just repeat afterwards.
Yep. I have it at the tippy top of B. Reason being, if you look at our A tier, half of our A tier destroys Raging Bolt. It's going to do good into Charizard, sure. Cloth is not a good matchup. Iron Thorns is not a good matchup. Stall is an atrocious matchup. And Pidgeot Control is not great either. I think if you look at just those 5 decks in A tier that we've got so far alone, I think Raging Bolt gets bodied by most of them enough to bump it down, and that's just not like a theory testing. If you look at its results over the past couple weeks, it's doing well because enough people play it where it's still winning a good bit of tournaments, but those people are hitting the right matchup spreads. Like, if you actually dig through Limitless and look at the people who won with Raging Bolt, they kind of dodged the Control decks. They kind of maybe they hit one Cloth matchup. For the most part, they've just been hitting Charizard, Dragapult, stuff like that. And I think that puts it at the top of B. I think the deck is still strong. You hit for infinite damage. You got a lot of tank potential. You got an amazing Regidrago matchup, and that's a very popular deck, which we'll talk about next. But overall, there's still a lot of other decks in A tier that I think kind of hard body. Raging Bolt. And I'd feel a lot better being on the side of the table playing Unhinged Scissors or telling my opponent they can't retreat when I'm looking at their 17th Ogre Pawn in the active spot. So
yeah, that's fair. I had to bump it down. You made really, really good points there.
I appreciate it. But it's still Raging Bolt. Don't get me wrong. It's still an amazing deck. It's top of B tier. Yes.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it, but it's good, and that's why I hate it.
Yeah, but I think with the popularity of Regidrago and Charizard right now, yeah, dude, you could totally play it and just run into the majority of those two decks and kind of, or those two style of decks, like a V-Star, like Lugia V-Star, and Charizard, or some other stage 2, and you'll do great. So, yeah, it's still Raging Bolt, still got it at top of B. Jumping in next, Regidrago.
For the only reason I have it in BDIF is because of how it won and the swagger behind it. This man rolled the coin. He got the heads and he slammed the card so hard that the TMS
on the bench started flying.
I got it in BDIF for that.
All right,
the
I'm not gonna lie.
Executor right there just came through clutch, and I can't hate it. I can't. It was so fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I had this deck at the tippy top of A, but that was a lot of emotion. And I think when you get emotional like that, it's hard for the future psychologist, knock on wood, we finished my program, to bump that any lower than BDIF.
I can't wait for it to rotate. Don't get me wrong.
I love emotional expression. I love how this card as a whole, like, just, I'm not saying right now, this card was the most bulk V-Star of bulk V-Stars, one of the most mid V-Stars to ever exist for years, and we just watched this card get 6 out of 8 of the top spots at Toronto Regionals, a tournament with over 2,100 players. This deck got 6 of the top 8, and to win like that, I'll put it in BDF. I won't even make an argument for A tier. I was going to. Nah, you're right. You brought up too good a point. I can't. I'm done. BDIF.
That made my whole weekend right there.
The story of Drago by that. What? Oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Gosh, I hope he's watching because that would be awesome, and I really hope you forgive me for forgetting her name. But the emotion you had, I was inspired. I love it. I don't think you smacked it. I feel people are like, oh, you smacked the guy's card on the ground. Dude, people are saying how slippery that table is. There is no mat. I have never been on a stream match. I've played on tables with no mats. Those cards go slippy and sliding all the time. And that guy just had a lot of emotion. There was no intention to knock his opponent's card over. Like, it happens. And he deserved it. He just won 10 grand at a regional off a coin flip. That's insane. Yeah, BDIF. No more argument.
That's the last thing I'd be upset at.
Yeah. Jump into the next deck. We got Regigigas Pikachu.
I have it I got it in B. I think that Regichu is genuinely the best way to play Pikachu. You can easily cycle the energy back. You play one premium trolley, you get all the Regis out. There you go. Your entire energy engine is there.
Yeah.
You get Pikachu, you play your stadium, and you're golden. Oh, your opponent bumps your stadium, just drop Pikachu, rescue Stretcher or something it back, or pick up like one of your Regis with Turo or Penny or whatever you play to pick up Pokemon. Play your Pikachu back, get your stadium, and then you're good again.
Yeah.
The Reggie is just like, and the Reggies are good single prize attackers too. There's a couple really solid Reggies that can put your opponent for a loop.
Reggie Rock is in a great spot right now too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me see. I have it pulled up right here. What was your name? I just said I had it pulled up and then I forgot. What was
You're
your
all
name?
good. No, the deck is insane.
I saw it played.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out which match it was. Yeah. No, I was.
In the stream match. Yeah, the stream match. It was on the stream match.
I think it was early in the day. I'm not sure.
But it did make day 2. A couple people did make day 2 with it. I think it's a super strong archetype. I did post a video on this, and I think a lot of people didn't watch it. It wasn't one of my more popular ones, but I think it was one of the better competitive level decks I've ever posted as a rogue deck. And it kind of surprised me because I feel like everyone loves the Reggies for everything you said. Kind of love it in B. I agree with you. If you don't mind, just in the interest of time, jump to the next one. So if you keep looking, you find it, just scream and say you got it, and we'll shout that guy out. We got Roaring Moon next.
Roaring Moon, I got it in I got MB. I think it's a good pick. It's just a solid all-around deck. I don't like insta KOs, but
neither do I. But I think a lot of people aren't teching Temple of Sinnoh anymore. Like, that used to be the biggest stadium in Regidrago. I think Roaring Moon's been gone for a while, so people are starting to take out Enhanced Hammer, starting to take out Temple of Sinnoh, starting to not play that one Mist energy they played to deal with Roaring Moon. Like, Charizard, I feel like, doesn't run Mist anymore, and I think Roaring Moon players should pay attention to that, because I think now it's an amazing time for it, again, because of that. And Stall's popular. You never worry about Stall when you play Petron, and this deck plays it so naturally. So, yeah. Nope. Love it in B. Jumping into the next one, we got 2 left. One of them we could just, I feel like, throw in D tier, Terrapagos Dusknoir.
Yeah, if you're playing Terrapagos Dusknoir, I think you need to go get, like, a CAT scan or something like that.
You just need to get Cloth.
Yeah.
You played Terrapagos anyways. Get the Cloth. You already got the expensive card.
The card's like 8 cents.
Yeah. The final deck, Sablezard.
Sablezard. Now, I have it in A, but I only have it there because if you're a really good Sablezard player, you can torch anybody.
That's a very fair point. I have it in B. I got it on the upper end of B, but I still have it in B. The deck has a few rough matchups. Most notably, Iron Thorns is kind of a tricky one for the deck, just because it does shut down Radiant Charizard and Blood Moon or Saluna, which are the 2 big attackers in Sablezard. Charizard is a decent matchup. Cloth is kind of one of those 50-50s. It depends how well you can gust up some 2-prizers. Regidrago, the state Regidrago's in is the reason I got it in B tier. Dealing with Kyurem from that deck as an attacker is the most miserable experience. You like have to play a Manaphy or 2, which does hurt your bench space. Palkia being a better pick right now makes it hard. Ancient Box is pretty popular. How is this deck? This deck should not be. Yours should be out more. Ancient Box should be in more like mid B, I feel like. Ancient Box is a hard matchup for Sablezard. I feel like Sablezard is just a tad bit less consistent than Ancient Box, and I think Ancient Box thrives a bit better because where Ancient Box attacks for Okos almost every time essentially against Lost Box. Lost Box kind of falls short sometimes with Sableye. It doesn't pick up those KOs where it needs to. So I got it in B.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. And its matchup spread isn't perfect. It's got like 3 or 4 bad matchups, and I think I kind of touched on a couple of them. But I think that's pretty much it for our tier list. Of course, if there's anything you disagree with, anything you would like changed, like move, any decks you want us to add to this tier list for next time, please let me know in the comments down below. I love hearing people's just opinions on this stuff. I think it's super interesting on people's reasonings, and even if you want to talk like on Discord and just, like ping me in the general chat or whatever and just kind of ask why I put something there, why I don't have this deck on the tier list, why I included this deck on the tier list, like, please let me know. I love talking about this stuff. I think it's a ton of fun. And
me too. I like reading the comments.
Yeah, facts. As all podcast episodes go, we will play Who's That Pokemon. It is Avery's turn to stump me after last week's horrific performance where I picked a card that might have been too niche. I think I just have an obsession with Quagsire that made me know that card better than I should have. But if you haven't seen Who's That Pokemon, it is the game we play in the podcast where we will pick a random Pokemon card for each other, pick a very small, very tiny snippet of the card, and, wait. Oh, okay, it said spoiler. I just clicked that. Okay, sorry, Avery clicked that. I thought he sent me the full card. I was like, wait. We have 7 questions that have to be card related. So we can't ask, is this Pokemon from Gen 5 or is it before Gen 5? That's not, it's a yes or no question, which is good, but it's not card related. We can ask, is this from the Scarlet Violet era or the Sword Shield era? We're only doing cards in the standard format. We're only doing Pokemon for now, just to guess Pokemon and so on and so forth. I don't know if there's any other big rules. I feel like that's good enough. We get 3 guesses, 7 questions. I'm pulling up the picture so I can, I'm trying to at least open in browser. Oh my gosh, wait. Why do I have to zoom in at like 8 quadrillion times? All right, I got it pulled up. Let me go back to this, just make sure the recording's okay. Okay. What's Togepex's first evolution? Oh my god. It's not Marnie. It's something like that. Is this Pokemon... Well, we'll ask a couple questions first. Because I'm feeling like it's either a Mudkip or something like not Mudkip. I see the orange in the bottom right. I see a little bit of purple up top. I know Toxapex's first evolution has red eyes, I want to say, or something like that, unless I'm tripping. And that gives that hair that it has. But that also gives, like, Swampert type vibes. Is this Pokemon a basic Pokemon?
No.
No. Okay, so that's one question. Sorry, I'm just writing notes for myself. Not a basic. Is it an evolution Pokemon?
Yes.
Okay. So that's two questions. Is this Pokemon a card I've ever played in one of my videos?
Yes.
I don't know.
Actually, maybe. Let me take a look.
Okay, that's fair. Three questions. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. If it's like, you don't have to dig through all my vids. There's a lot of them. I get it. But you guys should dig through all my videos and watch every single one of them and figure out if I played this card. Huh.
Yeah, you have.
I have. That was adamant. Oh, gosh. Okay, I've asked three questions. What's something else that could nail it down? What does that look like? That would help. So, I'm trying to figure out if this is like the head or the arm of something. I don't know. I guess, actually, based on the little orange, it could be like Choodle. Or something like that. Is this a water-type Pokemon card?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. So it's a water type. It's an evolution. I've played it in one of my videos. Oh my gosh. All right, so it's got a more plain style art. I got three more questions to try to nail this one down. And then I got three guesses. And I'm not going to lie. All right, wait, can you hear me? Oh, no.
Yeah.
My camera froze on an awful spot. That's atrocious. Let's turn that off, turn that back on. All right, we'll put a box over my face so people didn't see me when I froze. Let me write down the timestamp for that. That was atrocious. I'm not going to stop the recording unless it really broke and take a cut. So if it took a cut, I bumped into my desk trying to scooch my chair up to think better, and I broke everything. So my bad. Anyways, what was that? 4 questions. Water-type Pokemon card. It's an evolution. I have played it in one of my videos. Oh my gosh, is it... Is it a regular style card? Meaning, like, it's not a trainer gallery or an alternate art, something like that. Like, is it a regular card?
It is a standard card you'd pull out of a booster
Yeah,
pack.
thank you, okay. I don't know if that question made sense. Thank you for standard card. And it's an evolution Pokemon. Oh, so it wouldn't be Choodle, it would be the Dreadnought, but it doesn't look like Dreadnought. What have I played? Oh my gosh. Wow, dude, I'm totally lost. I wish I could just pull up my videos and scroll through. I feel like it would smack me in the face, but that's not cool. That's not very epic. I got 2 more questions, I believe. Yeah, I've got 2 more. Is this a Pokemon from one of my Wild Wednesday series?
No.
That was out there, but okay, you were too quick on that, which means you found the video recently, which means I probably posted it recently, unless you searched it, in which case I'm truly cooked. Oh, what's a good last question? What could help me figure it out? Was this Pokemon an attack Pokemon or a support Pokemon?
Neither.
What? I'm sorry. So, wait. That was my last question. That gave me nothing. So I make content on playable decks. There are attack Pokemon. There are supporting Pokemon. What other category am I missing?
I'll tell you after your guesses.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. That actually could say a lot. There's attacking Pokemon, there's supporting Pokemon. So it means it's not an energy acceleration, it's not a draw support. Oh. Maybe it's like a Manaphy or something like that, because no, it's an evolution Pokemon. It's that Gashardon. Gashardon is a evolution Pokemon. Is the card a fighting type, though? I think Gashardon might not be a supporting Pokemon because it messes with your opponent's Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure that's fighting. You said it's a water type card or Pokemon? I meant card, if that changes the answer. Alright, it's fair. Well, because I know like some Pokemon have like the odd typing, but it's a water type card. That's what I needed. Okay. So what other support-esque Pokemon are like water types that I just kind of hung out with. What? Oh my god, dude, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I don't have... What? I should have asked something like, is it a single prize, or why am I such an idiot? It's a standard card. What's a standard card? Is it Gastrodon? Is Gastrodon a water type card?
Do you want to use that as a guess?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. We got 2 guesses left. I am so beyond stumped. This is insane. What have I played recently that's an evolution deck with wall Pokemon that aren't... Oh, I guess walls aren't support and attack? Dude, I'm so lost. I can't even think of a water type that's neither a supporter nor an attacker, just something else. Does Manaphy have an evolution that I'm sleeping on? Like,
no.
Is there another Pokemon I didn't know existed? I'd be kind of impressed. And I'm kind of disappointed in my like tism for knowing Pokemon at these quickest of glances. I haven't played a Swampert deck. I haven't played a Totodile deck. It wouldn't be one of those. It can't be Toxapex's first evolution. I haven't played Toxapex in any decks. Why am I so stuck on those Pokemon? What other water type Pokemon are there? It's not... Have I played with Excalibur before? It's blue. It's a water type. What's its middle evolution? It looks like Chudo. Did I make a Dreadnought video? I don't ever remember if I did. Is it Dreadnought? No, it's an attacker.
That a guess?
No, because that's an attacker. That's an attacker.
Okay.
Oh my god, what? Is it like Tatsugiri from Dondozo?
Is that a guess?
Yeah. No, it's a basic. Ah, crap. Why did I say yes?
I'll give you your guess back if you want.
Nah, it's cool. I guessed it, and I'm cooked. I'm just trying to think of not support, not attacking. What does it? What? The only thing I can think of is Lucky Bonus Chansey. That's not an attacker or a support Pokemon. What is this? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm gonna go insane. Oh, this hurts. This hurts so bad. Is it... Have I... Oh my god, dude, I got nothing for this last guess. Let's do something crazy. Let's just throw some insane Pokemon out there. Is it... Maybe it's a Swim Freely card? No, because that would be basic if it was Finian. If it was an attacker, it would have been one of the other ones, like Seaking. But Seaking does have orange, and it is blue. It is a water type, but it's an attacker. It can't be that. Throw something insane out there. Is it Starmie from 151, where you put a damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon and it shuffles or discards itself or something like that?
Nope.
Yeah. Alright, I saw that one coming. Well, by all means, you have won this one. No, it's not Blastoise. It's not Blastoise. Can you send an image of the card so I can?
Hey, spoiler.
I broke my laptop again punching my chair.
He's just there. He's not a support. He's not a tagger. He's just there.
Can you send me the image of that card so I can pull it up and show people? Oh no!
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. It's War Turtle. It's War Turtle. Oh my god. You did not. You did not. I am so mad. Alright, let me zoom out of this guy so everyone can experience the War Turtle. What part of it was... Oh my god, the ear.
Yep.
Oh, with the cloud. Oh my god. Oh, that's so infuriating. I got cooked. I broke my laptop for that, dude. That one got me.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you heard or saw. I hit the arm of my chair. I was like, no, I lost. I don't know if this is my first loss. I didn't like it. This is the most emotion I've ever had losing ever.
I'm terribly sorry.
No, it's okay. That was so worth it, dude. That card, I'm never going to forget War Turtle. I think I'm actually going to go buy a pack of plastic straws tomorrow, though. Like...
I was going to say, if you wanted, like, a hint or something, I would have said, this is here in case you don't have rare candy.
No, that would have, like, not given it away, but that would have helped a lot. But nope, that one hurt. It was War Turtle. Feels bad. I'm never gonna look at turtles the same. Next time I see a turtle, I'm gonna throw a straw in the ocean. Just kidding. I would never do that. I'm kidding. That was awful. I would never. I owned a tortoise. I love tortoises and turtles. I think about them very differently after this. Anyways, thank you for this card. I appreciate y'all for sticking in this long. This episode is going way longer than I thought. Anything you want to say before we jump out, or can I do a little outro?
Go ahead. You guys have a good night.
Sorry for the rage. Sorry for the blocks over my face. I broke my camera. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. It's just tripping out today. If you haven't seen my TCG player affiliate code, links in the description down below. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you for the next episode. Let me know if you guys want to see anything. With that being said, stay epic. Peace.
Peace, guys.